Hey everyone, this is Sunny Justice with It's a Criming Shame. Now, of course, before we get started, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing to get all the notifications whenever we release a video or do a live. And if you don't mind, please consider hitting that like button and give this video a share. So let's get into this article, basically that's slamming certain media sources while praising themselves. Heaven forbid. I mean, they did no wrong in the Nicola Bulley case, and they're praising themselves for a job well done. Fancy that. Anyways, regional journalists win praise as nationals slammed over Nicola Bulley coverage. So regional journalists have won praise for their coverage of the Nicola Bulley case amid criticism from a police chief about their national colleagues. Lancashire Police and Crime Commissioner Andrew Snowden, to the left, pictured, thanks newspapers based in the country for the way that they handled the disappearance and death of the mother of two whose body was found in the River Wire in February. Obviously, rest in peace, beautiful Nicola Bulley. In particular, Mr. Snowden contrasted the behaviors of journalists working for the Blackpool Gazette, Lancashire Post, the Lancashire Telegraph, as well as the BBC Radio Lancashire, which that of national titles during the search for the 45-year-old. Now, following her death, Miss Bulley's family issued a scathing statement in which the accused media organizations of running appalling stories and for them to sell papers and increase their own profiles. Now, the statement sparked an industry debate in which former Lancs live editor Luke Beardsworth claimed it was not enough for regional titles to point out their coverage have been more respectful than others, although journalists working in the country defended the way that they had covered the case. Speaking to the local democracy reporting service, Mr. Snowden said the media narrative in the national papers has been about bungling, incompetent cops who were ultimately proved to have been right all along.
Not everything I do is about you, boo.
Stroke your egos. Oh, look at that. We got a subscriber. Oh, that was... Okay. So that subscriber must have heard me talking right now and was like, you know what, I got to get the latest video. That's exactly what happened. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. So how did the police lose control of that narrative? Well, I'm grateful to the outlets like the Lancashire Post, the BBC Radio Lancashire, the Lancashire Telegraph, and the Blackpool Gazette, all of whom were very measured and sensible in their reporting and listened to what the police were saying. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of, you know, when there's that, you know, those students that kiss the teacher's butt in a sense like that, you know, and it's like, yeah, we got to be good because, you know, like we're in the vicinity, so we got to be a lot more respectful how we handle this. But the other ones, the other media sources had to defend themselves. Anyways, that's what that reminds me of. It's just kind of like a whole lot of ass kissing going on. So, but that wasn't the case with lots of national newspapers. I was going to say loose papers, but newspapers. And then it became an internationalized, sensationalized story. So TikTok in particular saw online amateur detectives pushing conspiracy theories out, which resulted in vile abuse towards Nicola's families and friends. How did that get so out of hand? Mr. Snowden's comments come after he ordered an independent review in the 3-week missing person inquiry that has been carried out by Lancashire Police following Miss Bulley's disappearance. At the time, the force was criticized over its handling of the case by NewsQuest investigation editor Mark William Thomas, and that was who was warned police press offices across the country to wake up and called for a change in thinking from the police communication teams in what he termed as the era of the armchair detective. Vanessa Sims, who edits the Preston-based Post and its national world sister titled The Gazette, told HTFP that in an era and keyboard detectives, the team at the Lancashire Post and the Blackpool Gazette prided themselves at being the home of trusted news on the tragic case of Nicola Bulley. Oh, that just warms my heart. I don't know about you guys, but honestly, I mean, it's so great that they think so highly of themselves, of course. Now, the interest the case received was phenomenal, and the insensitive and often harmful actions of the amateur social media detectives made covering the case in a measured and accurate way even more important. Cases like this clearly demonstrate how important the local media is when it comes to providing fast, accurate, and trusted news on the issues that matter the most to our readers. Hi. Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that whole post? First of all, bottom line is, probably my favorite line in this whole thing was Mr. Snowden said that the media narrative in the national papers has been about bungling, incompetent cops who were ultimately proved to have been right all along. All along. I wonder who bungled it up first. I wonder who didn't cordon it off or deem it, you can deem it as high risk, right? It's okay to deem it as high risk right away. But you know what? We're just going to let, TikTokers, YouTubers, come throughout the entire thing as this lady is missing and they have no clue exactly where she is. But hey, you know what? We're the greatest. We're the best. And it's all your guys' fault because you guys walked to a dog park that was obviously free to enter because you guys didn't cordon it off. Let's get real here, Mr. Snowden, that the internet wave and the sleuths and detectives is only growing. It is best idea, honestly, that you embrace this internet sleuth and the true crime community because it's not going anywhere. And in fact, they are a resource to be reckoned with. Now, we always know, like I've always said, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? That's just how it is. Come on. Really? So, to sit there and congratulate yourselves, right? And then basically say to the other media sources, like, you guys basically are incomprehensible. You guys are disgusting. You guys basically went on and on about Nicola Bulley so that you could get views and clicks and all this stuff. Really? Isn't that their job? Isn't that their job to do that? Now, who deems the morals here, Mr. Snowden? Is it you or is it the public? The public wants to know. And we all know exactly that if it wasn't for the media, we all know the police would have nothing. So that's what always gets me. That they're they're biting the hand that feeds them when they say stuff like that. Oh, well, we have a few here, but all these other ones that are more of the outcasts that aren't around this area, those are the demons over there. And those are the ones that have totally made a mockery of this case, as well as all the TikTokers and everybody else. Now, I always say this. Granted, there are people that cross the barriers and cross those lines. Again, that's just a matter of what's in the law and what's against the law. So if it's not against the law to do it, then what's your issue? Now, if somebody's breaking the law, absolutely, okay, whatever. For me personally, you guys, I feel that in the UK over there, that you guys are going to have changes coming when it comes to the true crime community, sadly. Because they're going to try to probably shut you guys down more. Instead of having the freedom to speak, it's going to be, the freedom to say what you want as long as we tell you what you guys can do and say. And if not, well, you're probably going to get arrested for breaking this rule to that rule to that rule. And we're going to leave about 5 charges on you because of all these different things. Kind of like how they bullied Curtis Media. Again, just a crock of crap, really. At the end of the day, But anyways, it's one of those things, right? This world is not fair, and nobody claimed it to be fair. But in saying that, I still don't understand why they invested so much time into the true crime when no matter what, you're not going to change the world, buddy, in a day. It's not going to happen. There is always going to be people. It's always been that way throughout life. There's always going to be those people that go to the extreme, and there's always going to be the bigger handful of people that want to report on it because they care and they have compassion and they're in the true crime community for that reason, right? There's no difference in good cops, bad cops. You know, there's always ones that can be bought and the other ones that would never ever think to do stuff like that. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think of this. This just always really gets my goat when they're just self-praising themselves, when really the whole reason why this case took off the way it did is simply because the Lancashire police expected everyone to believe in this narrative of, look, we have nothing to show you, but we want to tell you what to believe. Thank you, but we like to be free thinkers ourselves. Thank you very much. And if you're going to use those words, and they're going to use those words when they're giving a press conference and talking in a way that's very condescending, very arrogant, and comes across as being like, you know what, we know already what's going on, okay? We can't give you any information or tell you nothing because we don't have nothing to give you. But hey, of course, believe our story. And then we're going to sit there, and we're not even going to sit there and say, hey, you know what, we royally screwed up here. We could have done it better, blah, 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 blah. No, no, no. Of course not. It's all about self-praise, egos. And this is what I call, when you read this, of course, and it just becomes about verbal diarrhea to me. You know, like I said, let's call a spade a spade. Let's just be real here about how exactly this all truly transpired. And it wasn't because of the true crime sleuths. It was because of exactly what was said and how it was handled. That's what I have an issue with. Your guys' thoughts in the comment section of this video would be greatly appreciated. Tell me what you think.